So team, welcome you all to a new SDET training. And in this portion of that SDET training, we're going to do Selenium plus Java. So there is a lot that we will cover. I'm going to put it as November 2019 as the month. Um, in this Google Drive folder, we will continue to write all the documentation and scripts and everything. We'll share it here. And every few days, every week or so, I will share these files with you team so you can start looking at it. Meanwhile, the sessions are recorded. You will have to look at the session, you'll have to look at the video, pause it and do these at your end. So team, we are in the day one. This is for our SDET Selenium plus Java. So please note team, SDET, primarily your software development engineer in test. So someone who's got a good programming knowledge and who understands testing very well, who's good at frameworks, CI/CD, and overall to survive in tomorrow's next year's 2020 QA market. Are you all able to hear me, team? Okay, I just have one person saying they cannot hear me. All right, Satish, please check at your end. Okay, great. So, team, we have a very simple idea. By day 15, I would say actually day 14, 15, we will have this completed SDET training done. So what is it that we will cover in these few days? Let's kind of go through them. And please do note, this training currently is part of our JPACT 11 batch. So anyone in JPACT 11, this becomes a mandatory training for you because a lot of things that we will do in automation will get covered here. So very simple team. One, there are a few prerequisites. I want you to please make sure that you follow instructions very well. It is very, very critical team. It is a program. It will work brilliantly. You'll become a complete SDET trained individual in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But you need to focus along with us as well to be able to achieve this. Cannot hear. It's few people. I'm sorry. A couple of them are saying that they cannot hear. Hope they can now, team. But if not, they'll come back to me. Okay, prerequisites. Number one, team, you've gone through that NEOT certified tester training because we spoke a lot there. Manual QA, how we write automation friendly Excel sheets, how we used NEOT to execute, to be able to identify elements, basic level. So I'm not looking at you already being an expert. We will become an expert through this process. And you must have seen some Selenium WebDriver and Code Java overview, but I'm not expecting you to be comfortable on that. So having said that, what is it that we will start with, team? So there will be about 3 projects that we will get into, everyone. The first project is something that we will start as a linear plus functional decomposition framework to a data-driven framework. And as part of this, the first and foremost thing we will learn is core Java basics to a certain level, team. What is essential to be able to do that project? So we will not learn everything about Java in one go. We want to break it down into learn little coding, apply it, learn little coding, apply it into a project. After which we have Selenium basic WebDriver commands are there, which are not very critical and how they work. Yes, you will focus more on element identification and how we do it in a more efficient way. We will learn to read and write from an Excel sheet using Apache POI and HSSF. And we will also get exposed to what is JUnit and TestNG, at least some basics of it. Okay, so all of this we will complete in the first project. In the second project, there is a lot that we will be expanding onto. Most importantly, the key topic there will be, we will be working on building a keyword driven framework. And this will talk a lot about error handling in Java. We will talk about how we take screenshots, how we report defects, how we use try catch blocks. We will talk about oops in a very practical implementation manner, how we can build something like this. We will also talk about what else was we did I miss out of those? Actually, a lot is included here itself, team. So maybe a little bit of JUnit test ng. Let's get it into the next project and then go into keyword driven framework. Project 3 team. Will be now each time as we go about, you're getting better at how we handle elements, how we handle complex applications. So definitely we'll have to look at complex web apps and how to handle them, especially be it pop-ups, be it multiple tabs being opened, or any HTML Ajax issues that we see. How can we use sometimes scrolling, moving elements, drag and drop, web tables, so and how to handle some dynamic apps. This will take a good focus, team. It'll be very interesting on. So this is when we will master element identification. And we will also implement page object model page factory frameworks. And both of these, and these are interchangeable as frameworks or methodologies of execution. That is how we will focus on, team. Then we're getting into, of course, the other trainings, which are more CI/CD related and so on. But next few days, this is what we will focus on. And whatever we need, we will learn from basics. So this is what I'm expecting that you have some basic idea on. And now we're going to get started here. Any questions before we continue? I got at least a couple of people who saying cannot hear you, team. Don't know why. I'm just doing one audio check. Can everyone hear me? Let me put it into the chat. And any questions before we get started? Try and rejoin. Most other participants can hear. Okay, so I just put it in chat. Hope that helps. So team, if we're good, then let's get going. Primarily, now let's work on the project one, and this, think of it as an orientation thing. Now, project one, day one. So for us, team, the way we look at it is, I wanted this actually to be a Google Doc. Team, this course is for any membership, 1 year or 2 year, iTeLearn or JPACT. The project and certifications that we get into, that is only for the JPACT, and the placement assistance, that's the only difference for the JPACT members. Those are questions I thought I'll quickly answer. Okay, so most importantly, team, the keyword for us when we start any project is the application under test. So, and team, I will try and take as much documentation through it, abbreviations, keep on writing and adding to this library. And this notes will also be handy for you. So it can be a specific domain. It could have specific functionalities, whatever, but getting an overview of that application and what it is very, very critical, team. The way I'm choosing applications for our first project is very simple. I want the application to be simple, simple app, focus on learning potential. So I'm going to stick back, team. I've been experimenting, but I'm going to stick back to mortgage calculator as the application. And primary reason being very simple. It helps us to easily relate not only with the science of automation, but also the numbers and how variables work within Java. So for us to be able to start working on this, let me talk about this application as a sample and what we want to do. Then we will talk about creating some test scenarios or test cases for it. And then we will talk about automation very quickly, what we require installation to get started. And then we will create our first Java project. So team, my expectation is as I'm proceeding with these sessions on a daily basis, you are also getting a good opportunity to practice by looking at the video. I'm not going to share this code right away with you all, team. The code, I'll share it only towards end of project. I want you to look at the video, write the code again, use your hands and write it. That's going to give you a lot of control and confidence, team. Sorry. And also please do note, you may face challenges as you go along. Use our Skype group for support, team. And we will assist in whatever way we can through it. Great. So team, let's go to this application, understand a couple of simple things and what it does. So mortgagecalculator.org, that's our application under test that we're taking. And what it does is a simple calculator where I can change the home values of what I'm seeking, maybe talk about down payment, and be able to calculate and see what would be my overall payments at the end of it. I haven't seen this pop-up come up earlier, but hopefully we'll be able to resolve that. Oh, compare loan types I clicked, I guess. So I clicked on this and here is my EMI that I'm expecting, team. So for every execution of, or rather different customers coming into this application, they're going to enter different details, team. So every user has a different expectations. They will keep changing the values. And for us as an application owner from a testing responsibility, we want to make sure that it's working all fine. And we want to see in what all possible ways different types of users may use, and that in no way it should break. Neither while working on the application, nothing should be going wrong as a user experience, nor the data that we get. That becomes important. So let's talk about automating this process, team. As a manual testing, yes, it's pretty much obvious that we will have something like maybe a test case sheet, and I will use very standard formats, team, that helps me maintain things across. There's one hand raised by Syed. I'm gonna put it down. If there's any question, team, you want to be unmuted anytime, please raise your hand. All right, so what are we doing here? This is mortgage calculator underscore test cases. So just putting it into a spreadsheet format, easier to maintain. I'll have a test case ID, a simple description as to what it does. And for that, I will have different steps. So I'll have a step number and then step detail as to what that step does. And that becomes almost like a standard thing that we have seen with any manual test case team. Yes, there are more things in terms of that we will talk about, especially with automation, is where in the application, like the element identification for it, are we doing it? And any test data that we may require to be able to process that step. And is there any expected result there, that we're looking at? But team, this expected result itself becomes a new step. We'll talk about it, not a problem. Let's say that my test case ID is MC01 underscore loan calc. Oops. Calculator basic. Just a basic MC calculator. And in this, I'm not going to do too much of automation team. Just take a couple of steps and talk about how we can put that into place. So here's my application under test. One of my first step, open up a browser. We'll stick with Chrome for a better part of our training. It is easier to then switch to any other browser. But just the fact that Chrome is much more automation friendly. So please stick with Chrome team, and I'll talk about what WebDriver versions, what we need to use. So, okay, the first step is to open up Chrome. Second, come to this website, mortgagecalculator.org. Then maybe enter a home value, a down payment, and then we'll click on calculate. That's my test scenario. So let's quickly enter this. Step one, open Chrome. So nothing in my element identification, but as a test data, I'll say it's Chrome. So team, this expected result, that what you're seeing here, is something that I will avoid, because if I'm expecting a result, that will become another step for me. But I'm just retaining, just lose it team. We don't need this. Every step should run. That's what it is. Of course, we'll have a result of what happened. Let's give it a little color. Okay, so that's my first step. It's going to have a few steps for the same test case. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not sure where. Go to application and a test. So basically want to navigate to it. So even here, we're not clicking or doing anything on a specific element yet in the application. It's still on the browser level. But yeah, I'll need my test data, which is my URL. And next is enter, what was that? Home value, enter down payment. And click calculate, get EMI, verify EMI. Rather, I'll just say there's nothing called get and verify. That's one step. And then done with my application, close the browser. It's a simple manual test team, but this is what we will write in Selenium and Java right now. So to be able to do this, one of the most key and important aspects are these things, team: element ID and test data. We know what to do here, but unless we have these two additional information, we cannot process it. So element IDs, I'll come to it in a brief minute, team. As of now, let's talk about the test data. See, now each time I enter a specific set of test data, my value as an output will change, correct? To click on calculate, I don't need test data. And the value is basically going to change here. So now it altered my input test data by these few fields, not even come to this radios or drop downs yet, team. And we're going to click on calculate. And this is my expected output. That's my test case team. Now let's create this as an automation thing. Now for us to be able to create this as an automation, we need to start installation team. The installation process is very simple. It is built on few components team. The first is the Java. All we need is the Java development kit, because we will be developing Java programs and launching them for it. So to do that, Oracle, just search for Java development kit or JDK, and you'll go to the Oracle website, which hosts Java platform for us as a development platform, and you can get the latest release from their team. So any of the standard editions, which is basically the SE, is the Java standard edition development kit, free for all to use. You're just going to accept your license, pick up your operating system, and download the corresponding version team. If it's a 64-bit, just take this x64.exe. If you have a Mac, take this Mac, sorry. You will be downloading this team, and this is the most important one. Go to the latest, get your latest Java download kit. It is going to be self-installation. Click on them. It will install it on your machine. Do not have to worry and keep on checking by going to command prompt and seeing if hey, is Java there or not on your machine. We don't know what version is there. We don't know if you have the complete development kit. You need the total development kit team. So get the latest one, go to the file folder here. I'm going to put this link, but it may change in future because it does has something .html, which is a number, could change. The second thing team. So this, any questions on this? Try it, and I want you to let me know if there are issues on your fresh machine. We can try and resolve if there is team. The second thing is you need an IDE team. IDE is an integrated development environment. So this basically helps you to run your tests. Age old, what we used to happen is each of your Java programs, like Java classes, used to be in a like, for example, just showing you a sample in bunch of these text files, and when we open them, they're very bland, black and white. There's no life to it, very limited. And we want to build these projects, run these codes, execute them. We have to keep on doing this from a command line. So IDE makes our development and coding life easy. So it basically helps you to write, build, and maintain code/projects easily. So it's nothing but it's never going to be mandatory to use IDE team. It is more like the way to do it. It is so easy with it that we cannot look at non-UI based editors where we need some life into what we do there. And for this, we're using Eclipse team. Eclipse is also again a free platform or an open source product, which is evolved through as one of the strongest contributors into any Java projects team. So a large population of Java developers globally use Eclipse as a platform, and it is a software that is provided to by Eclipse Foundation. So you go to eclipse.org and click on the download. You basically, Eclipse is, that's the flagship product, the Eclipse IDE. And there is this latest version IDE 2019-09. If you don't have it, get it team, get the latest version, and absolutely fine with latest ones. I have a little older version, and I think it should still be fine. It's Java Neon, but there seems to be the latest one also, but this is 0903. Let's see what that does. So maybe the latest one will look something like this team. And any Java code that we will write, we will start there. And what you need then is a bunch of Selenium things and sample code. That's it. With these 4 things, team, we're all getting prepared. So let me launch up Eclipse. I'm going to take a different one. Browse. I'll select this folder. So everything that we do in this will be here, team. So the first thing that is important for us to understand is how Eclipse works, team. So it's just got 3 or 4 names to it. Think of it like folder structures, all right? How the classification is. So first and foremost is that it's got this whole thing called as workspace. So let us say this is workspace 1, team. And similarly, you can have workspace 2, just showing different sizes. They could be big or small and so on. So in each one, you could be doing multiple activities, team, in each of these workspaces. And uh, basically what it means is you can have a project 1 in this, a project 2 in this, project 3 in this. And each project may be having a lot of Java classes or Java programs within them. And the same here, you'll have a project 4, maybe project 5, project 6. Now, why do you have to distribute them into workspaces? Very simple. We sometimes tend to work on multiple projects at the same time. So instead of having to, how do we then change our desk? Think of it like earlier generation when we didn't have computers, more of filing cabinets and so on. You literally then have to move from one desk to the other if you have too many files and so on. So here you basically switch between workspaces and say, you know what, now I'll work on this workspace or this workspace and so on. So at any time you start with a workspace, and we're talking about Eclipse here, team. This is all about Eclipse, okay? And within a workspace, we will create projects. Within each project, we can have multiple Java programs. And how they can work as one project together or as one program, we will explore now. So once you have your Eclipse IDE installed, team, you start by selecting a directory as the workspace. And like I did, just browse, create a folder that you're comfortable to put all your files in, and use that as your workspace. So whenever you want to switch to a different one, it'll be easy for you to do. So with that having said, we're launching this now. Now, looks fast. While that is happening, let's go to our Selenium headquarters, team. Excellent. Did you see this? Latest. Very nice. I haven't seen the new website, team. Haven't gone there maybe in a few years, but gee, boy, what few years? Few days. This is new. This is good. And then changed it to selenium.dev. Interesting. Hope it's the same for us. What I see and what I'm glad is that we have the 3 major components: WebDriver, IDE, and the grid. So each of them serve their own purpose, team. IDE is more of an experimental, simple testing thing. So we don't really want to focus too much on that, but very essential, very necessary for us to debug some of our tests or elements sometimes. So we are going to the download section of a team. And what now we have to explore, this is changed. So let's find, we're looking at Selenium client and WebDriver language binding. This is fine. Selenium IDE. Okay. Where are we? Selenium server. Okay. That is for the grid, but Selenium 4 alpha is something we will have to get into, team. Java binding, as of now, I don't really require them because they'll come with the Selenium server. Mm. Let's either way get the Java binding, because whatever we get, we will move it into our folder. And IE driver, definitely not interested. Latest stable version 3.14. I don't think I'll need that since I have this team with Java binding. So this is good enough for us. Show in folder. There we go. I'm going to take this and put it into our folder that we just created. Keep things organized, team. It'll really help for you as you keep practicing. So since we created this workspace and Eclipse, see, it's just launched up. It creates something called as a metadata and slowly some other information. There is a lot of content, team, that I will ask you to kind of ignore even looking at. But just realize that whatever you do here in Eclipse will reflect in this folder. So, okay, let me first get it here. I'm going to create a new folder in here, call this as drivers. So whatever driver files we require, extract here. What? It's a new version altogether. No. Let me just get the Selenium server 3.141 version. Keep, yeah. This is a jar. And there's one more thing, team, that I forgot. You need Chrome driver. Hello, system. Don't fail on me. It's stuck, team. Give it a minute, please. Just hung loose. Eclipse is up. Google Doc is stuck for me. All right, there we go. We need also our Chrome driver. So we're still here, team. We're going to selenium.dev and we have downloaded that latest jar version here. I'm going to take this version into our folder drivers. Sorry. I'm going to delete the other ones, team, which I don't need right now. I just needed this Selenium server standalone that I got as of now. This should be okay, I believe. Let's see. All right, now comes the Chrome driver, team. So Chrome driver, again, something you have to Google to get the latest version, team. Make sure you're getting that. And the challenge here will be, depending on the version of your Chrome browser, there are associated Chrome drivers, team. And this challenge just started, a few weeks back. with 77, 78, 79. So easiest is just check your Chrome version. Click on these three dots on the top right of your browser. Go to Help and search for About Google Chrome. And I'm using version 78. Update check failed to start. Don't know why. But for this, we'll make sure that we get the 78 version team. So you're going to download the one for Windows. Even if you have a 64 machine, 32-bit will work. And let me take this and cut it first from here into drivers, paste, extract here. And that's just the Chrome driver team. That's all I need. Now, the next component that you require is a sample Java code, Java Selenium. And when I say SWD team, I'm just referring to Selenium WebDriver code. So I'm just going to take any of the old programs and based on that, we can use it. So let's take it with the recent training. Ting, 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 ting. It's training. Okay. Oh, this is big. This is small. But still big. I'll write a small code team. So let's go to Eclipse, and here is how we'll put in the small demo code to get started. The reason I emphasize on demo code or something small to get started team, from a programming language, there is a cycle of learning and that requires constant experimenting and practice. But at the same time, there's a lot of frustration that we can develop when we cannot resolve our issues that we'll keep facing when we work on. And that is when you need to be able to clearly look at things, slow down a bit, and be able to focus by what is going to happen next. What do we want to really do on things? How do we go back and learn where the mistake is? So team, the first is let's create a new project team. So you remember I was talking about workspace. Now we are in a workspace and that workspace name is SDET November 2019. So I'm going to create a first project here and let me call this as PRJ1. We're working on mortgage calculators. I'll say underscore MC. And do not deviate too much in terms of selecting what you need here, team. But make sure that you select your Java runtime environment, the standard edition. The latest one is 1.8, the same one that you will download, everyone. Any questions so far, team? Just want to make sure you're all good. I will zoom when we get to the code. Yes, not yet. Can't zoom on this, I believe, but the code will be much more zoomed in. So we're selecting that environment. Forget about layout or anything and just say finish team. And what will happen now is it'll create a folder structure here, team. And this is what it looks at. So if you right click on it, on this project that we created and go to properties, simple, and click on this icon here, it'll show you this in your Windows System Explorer as to where that is. So drivers we created, .metadata got created when we added workspace. Now I have a project 1 underscore MC. And under that, there are a few folders, source, bin, couple of empty ones, class path and project file. So nothing much yet, team. So now for us to be able to succeed really well, we have to get this project 1 implemented in a decent small manner. So do not worry on this Java runtime environments library. what are these jar files. But just as a concept, remember this, Java is like a core programming language team. It does not have anything truly totally built in. Just that since it's open source, a lot of contributors started coming in and saying, hey, I'll make my tool or application or my API or my data work with Java. And each of them started creating a Java reusable resource or a Java archived resource. That is what we call as a jar file team. So for example, Selenium, if it needs to interact with Java, we need one jar file for it. If I need an Excel sheet to interact with Java, I need another jar file. If I need anything in database or anything, I need to keep on associating that with different jar files. So your Java comes with a standard library, but you can do more and more because of these contributions come from different other sources. All right, everyone. Now, you're going to ignore all of this JRE system library team. Don't worry about what are all there. For us, we'll have a little different problem. So let's go to this source folder, the SRC folder. Under this, just right click and create a new class and call this as maybe class 1, or even better, let's name it as my class 1. And the only thing that I will additionally do apart from giving it a name is check this box called the main method team. It'll just add it to the code. So just follow these instructions blindly for the next few programs, which will help you get kick-started and to get your codes running correctly first. So we're here, and this is my code team. So the same code, I could also go in my project to the source, and I see my class 1, and it's a .java file. It's of type Java, but I can open it as a notepad, and this is how I see. So at any point in time, you will see a lot of differences between the way these two UIs are presented. We'll keep on exploring them, team. But as of now, I'm just going to delete what I see as a comment. I am right clicking on these number areas team, which will open or take me to the preferences option. In here, the only reason I'm here is to change the size of my font, so it's easy for you. So I'm going to click on colors and fonts. Just by default, go and click on edit and maybe make it 16. Say OK, apply, and that's a little better. And you'll also notice that there are a lot of panels team that you will see within sorry, that you will see within Eclipse. And these are resizable. These are basically giving you better view on what all you want to do. So bunch of them you're not going to use team. So forget about task list or outline or myelin. Just keep your bottom one, which is where a lot of things that we do will come. So team, here is my first Java program, and a typical Java program is something where I can do things like hello SDET team, and this print statement is kind of supposed to come down for us. So I just save this and run it, and in the console, whatever I write here in the double quotes is coming, and that's my first Java program. Java is very strict team. It'll want you to be disciplined in the approach. So I make even a simple error in the format of how I provide information. It'll start throwing something called a syntax error, where it says that, hey, listen, there is a problem and you need to fix it. And Eclipse helps you to identify that there's a problem at a syntax level and also suggest what it could be a possible solution to fix it, team. So that will make it even more easier as we keep going along. Now, this is my simplest Java program. And the way we created was very simple. Right click source, and I clicked on class, new Java class. And here I'm going to say my Selenium Code 1. Now here is where we will be expanding a little bit in terms of how things work. So for Selenium, the basic code, like I was saying, I need to take and put it up here, team, so it's easy for us. Let me write it. And then we'll keep working on more and more variations of this. So look at the Java code that we wrote first. If I had any issues in the program, it will not let me save. It'll have red marks around it because it does not recognize certain things, team. Same thing we're noticing now out here in a new one called My Selenium Code. Any of these team, you'll see that there is a there's a main class under which they'll have your main Java method. So this curl brackets and so on, we'll explore a little bit more detailed. Let's get this kick started for us. So at this moment, team, the problem with this code is that I'm using an external interface and it requires that association. So unless I tell my Java project that, hey, listen, I downloaded that Selenium related jar reusable library and kept it somewhere in my system, it does not know how to use it. So to do that, you just right click on your project again. And this is an important step. Just follow, even if you follow it as a video, go back and look at it, team. Very simple, should not be confusing. Keep going to properties a lot of times. It's easy. You can refer a lot of things from there. And here you're looking at Java build path, team. So this is when we are building our projects, we want to be able to give it a chance to see for other libraries that it wants to use. So we're going to click on libraries here and add external jars. Remember, we created our folder and started organizing things neatly there. Trainings, SDET, and drivers. So in my Selenium server, standalone becomes mandatory. If this was not done, I did not complete that step, team. I take my WebDriver, my mouse over WebDriver with the first red line is, it gives me fixes, but not really a solution to it, team, because it does not understand what is WebDriver. But now right click, properties, Java build path, libraries, add external jars, C drive, trainings, SDET drivers, and select our jar file and say open, apply and close. And now let's take our mouse over it, team. And now do you see that it tells us that, hey, you know what? Wait a minute. Looks like I found some library. So you have your JRE system library that we saw earlier. Now we are creating our own third party or reference library, team. So anything additional that Java needs to keep having to understand to work on, we'll keep adding it out here. So at this point, all I'm going to do is say import selenium.webdriver. That is just to say that, okay, you know what? Just by adding it does not mean that you'll use. Mention it explicitly that you are going to use it. The same thing that, okay, what do I know that you want to use Chrome driver? I'm going to import these two statements, team. So at this point, my browser should have got opened and maximized. That's all. Now let's say I want to navigate, then my driver dot, what is the URL? Where were we writing that? Here, sorry. All right, that's my URL. And a few commands, team, that we will slowly learn. Navigate dot to, and this is my URL. Let us see if this works, team. So it's just a test, as simple as it can be. Oh wow, it did face an issue. Ting, 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 ting. Let's see my driver. And I don't know what, this was a different path, team. I need to give the path to the one that we just downloaded. And I want to make sure that is correct also. Let's see. See a couple of errors there. So this is Chrome driver. I hope this one we got it for my version of Chrome. Let me take this path, entire one. I'm going to first put it into a notepad, team. Otherwise, sometimes, this UTF formatting and all that will become a pain. So team, same link. We're going to continue tomorrow. Still a couple of more things to do. And then we are ready to implement our project one. This video should be up by, by tonight, later tonight, team, once the India team starts up. Okay, let's try again. So now I'm changing it to the driver that is pointed to where it is. That is the only difference. I'm gonna walk you through the details, every step of this code, team, with just getting this going as of now. Team, no one missed classes for element identification. They were there scheduled. We sent out the details, but you have not attended, then you can go to YouTube and watch them, team. It is there in the channel. All of it is there in the channel. There are more, and I've explained. I think some of you have joined late today. Let me re-emphasize this, please, so that there's no confusion. This is not the one. So yes, while we are touched upon some of the basics so far, we will be going in depth into these and also how to handle complex web applications at length, team, through this projects. Okay, one step at a time. So it still did not but again, team, I'm just randomly running the code, not looking at that error detail. Session could not be created. See, Chrome WebDriver only supports Chrome version 76. That was the problem. And what is my version then? Help 78. That is correct. So didn't I download for 78, team? Yes, I did. This is correct. What about the other drivers that I had? Let's see. Looked almost the same, but I think this is the then how come this will not work? 78 version, that is what I did. And that is what I downloaded. But anyway, let me make sure. I just changed it there in the path, team. It is referring to just the version number, team. So trying to make sure. There we go. It's opened up and nothing more. That's all it has done. Now we're going to go talk more of what all we can do, how we're going to find the elements and how we're going to write this scenario. So tomorrow's session, team, we will talk about writing our test case further into Selenium, identifying those simple few elements, getting it ready. Then we will look at variables, if statement, for loop, while loop, how we do switch case, functions, methods, and read and write from Excel as part of the data-driven framework project one, team. Team, that's it from my side for today. I'll see you back tomorrow. We're going to continue this for the next 14 sessions. And hopefully by tomorrow, you all should be able to get to this stage where you have a decent Eclipse workspace with one project, and we'll keep writing on the code. So tomorrow we'll expose a lot to our Java coding as well, team. All right, team, if there are questions, let me know, or we can also start tomorrow. Bring up your questions as you practice a little bit more at your end. And if need be, day 3, we'll do some screen sharing and resolve any technical issues that you have. And please, team, do note, I will be increasing the speed at which we go. This is just to get started. But in terms of, we will go very much in depth about every single line of code that we do. But we'll have a lot to cover, team. So we'll expose ourselves to many more things. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate you all joining. I'll see you back tomorrow for day 2. Bye all. Thank you.